Hi guys, and welcome back to Chop's Garage. And today we're covering the one last car out of the bulk buy from British car auctions that I haven't done yet. This is the final car from that bulk purchase, and it's the 2012 Fiat 500. It's actually a December 2012, so this is last one done in 2012, and it's a lounge, which you can always tell because they have the panoramic roof. They have these multi-spoke alloys and the chrome trim. Probably the most popular in my experience with Fiat 500s is the lounge. It's the one that everybody wants, and the white lounges go particularly well. The white ones and the baby blue ones are the best sellers. So we got this from the auction for, I can't remember how much. I'll put it in the screen down below. Those of you that watch the channel for a long time know I've done lots and lots of Fiat 500s. In fact, when I started, I pretty much did only Fiat 500s. So I do like to think I know these models pretty well and what to look out for on them. So again, it's the game again of finding out why this car was sold, because as a general rule, people, unless they're leasing cars and changing them every 3 years, tend to hang on to their cars. You just don't very often get genuine cases where people have got a good car and just want to get another one. Normally there's a problem with them, and there are a few things on this Fiat 500 as I've walked around it. Have you spotted some of them already? Comment down below if you spotted some of them already. So starting off down the side of the vehicle, obviously there's no bump strips on these, so they can get dinged quite badly. Now this one's actually pretty good, but we are missing the wing covering up there. Makes you wonder what was going on, because you only have to take that off really to get to the bolts there. But then I have had stuff nicked off my Fiat 500s before. I think people can it's not unknown of for people to steal bits off Fiat 500s to get the extra bits of trim, because looking at the front of it, the panel gap here is good, over the headlamp's good, so it doesn't look like it's got aftermarket bonnet or wing or anything like that. That all seems pretty good. It's all dirty, nothing outrageous around here. Yeah, again, panel gap's good there. The aftermarket stuff doesn't have good panel gaps, so you can normally tell it a mile away. We've got the lounge alloy, which is good nick. Tyres not too bad there. Got a scuff on the wing mirror. Then this door's okay, but then we've got the traditional broken door handle. Such a common thing on Fiat 500s. The thing is, the whole thing hinges off this tiny piece of metal here. People yank on the doors, it breaks the cast iron there, and you have to replace the door handle. And then we've got a ding down here, but it wouldn't be a Fiat 500 if it didn't have some kind of ding on the sill. It always seems to get beaten up. That alloy's in good nick again. Tyre's good. Scuff on the corner of the bumper there. I don't know how much that might polish out. A lot that's sitting on top, I think. So cosmetically she needs a few bits. She needs the door handle, and she needs the piece of trim up there. So I will be in contact with Club 500 again. They're the guys that break Fiat 500s. Great for getting parts from. Now it does mean that getting in and out of the car at the moment isn't possible without going through the other side. So let me just jump through hoops to do that and then show you the interior. Now, when the car arrived, the window was down part way, presumably so people could stick their hand in and undo the handle here to get in and out of the car. And this is where our first problem with the interior arises. We have a very, I put a cover on it so I can drive it, wet and mouldy seat, and a lot of condensation in the car. I think someone's left it for quite a prolonged period of time with the window open, so we've got to get this thing really dried out. Now this check interior suffers at the best of times. Even if someone's careful looking after these, they get quite badly water stained. Now the back seats are in good nick, and that seat isn't too bad, needs a bit of a clean up, as to the side of the door trims, but this seat has got quite a lot of black mould on it from getting damp, and this one's quite dirty here, so this is all going to need a proper wet clean. Steering wheels on these get grubby as well, being white, but that's not a problem, that can all clean up. So the lounges come with the aircon, CD radio and the auxiliary input. The trim on the gear gator here is damaged, so that needs fixing. But the panoramic roof, which gathered a lot of condensation, I think probably from the sun bringing water out the carpets. A lot of condensation up there, because I've never known those leak before. Touch wood, this isn't the first one, but I've never known those leak. So we've got the city button, which gets the steering twice as light on these. If you don't know, because it's electronic, you can hit that button, it gets the steering twice as light. This is one that's got the Bluetooth as well. So Bluetooth, aircon, the city button to lighten the steering, the start stop, and the auxiliary input. So they're really nicely spec'd, which is another reason why these ones tend to be the ones people want to go for. Not just good looks, but obviously better spec than a lot of 500s. Got a reasonable mileage on it, 68,000 miles for 2012. It's reasonable. Warning low fuel, but other than that, it's got no warnings. If we hit the start up, starts up on the button with no other warning lights on it at all. So we'll have a quick look underneath the engine bay. And the only other thing as well is this key is sticky. Now I had that on Fifi. Comment down below if you've been following on enough to remember Fifi. Her key got very sticky for a while, but then actually she kind of like self-healed, and it actually started to go in and out okay after a while again. So I think I'll just grease that and work it back and forth. And it's also missing part of its cover, which Fiat 500 keys always seem to be for some reason. Anyway, let's have a look underneath the bonnet and see what's happened under there. We've got the locking wheel nuts in there, so that's an advantage as well. That's a pain in the bum if they haven't got those with them. I'll leave the door ajar. So this is the 1.2. I can see it's still got the original stop-start battery from Fiat. It hasn't had it swapped out for a cheapy one when they fail. People put cheapy ones in, the stop-start plays up, so that's kind of an advantage, and it seems to be starting strongly enough. This is a 1.2, which is a really solid engine, same engine as in the Ford KAs. They are prone to ECU problems. We've done those before, haven't we, guys? On this is absolutely typical. If your Fiat 500 is making a rattling noise when you start it, this is the first place to look. People do the air filter, undo those two bolts, yank at it, forget this one's here and break it off, or don't put the bolt back in again. That's supposed to sit in there with a bolt, so that'll stop a lot of the noise from your engine bay if you get that done. And we've also got, it's a cam belt driven 1.2. This engine's like from the 1970s. They just updated it, and they are pretty bulletproof. But there's a sticker here that tells you whether the cam belt's been done or not. You can't do the cam belt without removing this sticker. Now, if this sticker's still in place like this, you guys will have seen this from previous videos. If it's still in place, it means that the cam belt hasn't been done. So I've just pulled at that one. So I guess you could fool me by just doing that, but they never stick back again. So odds on are this hasn't had a cam belt yet. So we'll double check that. Nice thing with these is you can double check, because you can squeeze this cover off without having to take the lower part off, so you can check how good the belt looks on that side of things. Oil, it has some, and it is about the right level. Needs a change. It's not too bad, but it does need a change. Coolant's quite hard to see on these get dirty, and it's very hard to see the coolant level. Just above minimum by the looks of it. So it's in need of a service and possibly a cam belt. Everything under here is just a bit dirty. I can't see any leaks from the gearbox, but we need to look underneath, because the next biggest risk on these is what, guys? A rusty sump. The 1.2s like to rust up the sumps, as do the 1.4s as well. No, we've got no leaks underneath there. Couldn't quite get you low enough, but there's no leaks under there, so the sump's okay, so that's a big plus. So it may well be this car again is one of those ones where it's all about the cosmetics, but we're not going to know till we take it for a test drive. So let's go out on the road and see what we think of it. So it was a bit smelly in here with the damp, guys. Quickly resolved that. Top tip for you is lavender oil. What you're seeing down there isn't wet, it's actually drops of lavender oil. If you've got a car that's a bit stinky, until you've had a chance to give it a really good clean out and get rid of the the source of the smell, which obviously is dampness, which I need to resolve, get the little bottles of lavender oil and just dab that around and it's the only thing you'll smell inside the car. So that's my top tip for that. Right, let's go for a spin. So away we go. Now I've driven so many of these, I should be able to tell you whether there's a decent one fairly quickly. Initial signs are the engine sounds bang on. As a general rule, I'm going to jinx myself now, as a general rule these engines are super tough, these little 1.2s. They're tried and tested. The internals of them are normally pretty good. You can get problems with clutches and with gearboxes. You can get problems with the ECUs, but as a general the engine itself is good, which I can't say about twin airs. Avoid the twin airs. They're great fun to drive, but nowhere near as reliable and simple to fix as the 1.2s. So gearbox feels fine. That's changing absolutely fine, which is a big risk with these. They can eat gearboxes, but again, I think that may be more down to who's been driving them, to be honest. Clutch feels nice and light and good. Braking, a little bit of squeal from the brakes there, but we don't know if that's just from it being sitting. But the engine itself sounds, like I say, sweet as a nut. These should build up to half temp and then just sit at half temp, these 1.2s. The other thing you're looking for on Fiat 500s, they do like to eat quite a lot of suspension components. Your lower arms, your top mounts are your two biggest ones. The lower arms will give you a knock, knock, knock. The top mounts will give you a squeak as you turn left and right. They'll give you a boingy squeak. More of a boing, I guess. You can hear a slight vibration in the engine bay there from that plastic air intake. Like I say, as soon as we fix that, I'll stop that completely. So the good thing with these is that you can potter along like this and you'll get your good MPG, and if you're not much of a driver, you just, you know, like the looks of your car and you just like to potter along, that's all good. But if you're a bit of a driver, even these only have about 70 odd horsepower, you can have quite a lot of fun with them. If you get them up to 4,000 revs, keep them on cam, they're a lot of fun. If you remember, we sold an S at Christmas, the blue one. They're a bit of a meaner, sportier looking one, but with the same engine. No difference in performance on the engine, and you know, that gives you nice sort of sports looks, but you can have a bit of fun with them as well. Like say, get them on cam, keep the revs up. I'm letting it get up to temperature at the moment before I start doing anything. And I can say, genuinely, drive-wise, actually the suspension's all good. So yeah, so this one's driving absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Everything feels exactly as it should on a 500. I've got no concerns at all on the drive. So it is looking like this might be more of a cosmetic one. So, door handle, that's a simple one. Already got one in stock. Swap tons of those over. That's no problem. Swap the door handle over. The ding down the bottom there, I can fix that. I've got the white on the shelf, I think, for that one. Bianca white this is. Again, so sad I've done so many of these. So that's an easy one for me to fix. And yeah, once that's been done, once those bits have been done, really good clean of the interior, wet clean all these seats. What's amazing for a 500 on this is that we don't have a warning to say that one of the driving lights is out. That's normally the case on all of these, that we have a driving light out. The bulbs go for fun. Oh no, hold on, we've got famous last words, there it comes on, ping, driving light bulb out. They just do those bulbs down the bottom for fun. Thing is, it brings up a yellow triangle, and what you'll find is if you retail these cars, is you'll get phone calls quite regularly going, I pulled over on the side of the road, a yellow triangle's come on the dashboard, and I'll say, walk around the front of the car, look at the lower lights, guarantee you one of the bulbs is out. Right, we'll do the quick Italian tune-up test. Like I say, these things come on cam at 4,000 revs. So you love that, it doesn't tell you to shift until you're at 5,000 revs. Oh, it's a little flyer. We haven't exceeded national speed limit, by the way, guys. We're still under 60 miles an hour. But This is where you want to keep your Fiat 500. That's what they're designed to do. Keep them on the boil like this, and you can have a lot of fun for no money. Right, well, I think we've sufficiently tested it. Mechanically, it seems sound as a pound. So it's just a case of getting through and tidying it up and then whip it up for sale. And as a general rule, the Fiat 500s do not hang around. See if we can avoid all these branches. So like I say, as a general rule, the Fiat 500s don't hang around. Hopefully that will be the case with this one. As I said, I couldn't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but I'll show the numbers in the video. I forget what retail is for 2012 for this kind of miles at the moment. It's around about the 4K mark, I'd have said. They're worth good money, 500s. They hold their money well. That's because they're super popular, aren't they? Let's get her in the dry, get a heater on her, get her all dried out, get the door handle swapped out, and then take it from there. As always, thanks for watching everyone. Catch you for the next one.